guys, Crypto Vibes here, also known as Crypto, bringing you guys another video. And today I've got my week 4 battle, I believe, going up in the CPC D League against Psychedelic Scizor and his Oakland Azelfs. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a pretty good game. I believe we're both sitting at 2-1 going into this one, with a pretty close differential too. I think I have a +3 and he has a +2, so very close in records, and this is an in-conference game, so definitely a lot of stakes going into this one. We definitely would like to pull this one out. It would help us give a little bit of a cushion in our conference. It helps us just, if we can just get another win, it'd be awesome. So yeah, that's the goal of this game, going and try to get a win like any other week. But yeah, going into it, I guess I'll just go ahead and get into his team. He did make a few transactions before our game, or before this week I should say, and his team is a lot different, and he only has 9 mons, but nonetheless they are all threatening in their own right, so let's go ahead and get into it. He has the capability to bring the Landers, Therian, Z capability, Jirachi, Frostless, Terrakion, Zebra Bomb V as well, Keldeo, Umbreon, Raikou, and Mega Venusaur. So looking at the matchup, he's only got the 9 mons like I was talking about, so that makes it easier to prep in an extent, so I don't have to worry about as much. Like if I'm trying to prep with a specific mon on my team going into it, I don't have to worry about all these other mons that could do different things to me, whereas there's like less things to worry about for a specific mon, if that makes any sense. But all the mons on his team have like a different thing they can do this game, and I could see any mon really coming to this game. I do see a couple mons more than others, but I just think any of the 9 could come. So yeah, yeah, a couple things that are huge threats for my team. Lander Therian is just a huge threat overall. It's just a top tier mon in any draft league out there, so it's just really scary to deal with, especially with Z capability. You know, their offensive variants are definitely scary, so I gotta be careful for that. Also pretty nervous of the Frostless that could potentially come. If he's like a Spikes variant of Frostless, then my 2 removal options are Megaladios and Gliscor, which get absolutely obliterated by Frostless. So that's not exactly the greatest option there, and my team is pretty weak to Spike stack this week, so that is definitely going to be a problem if he decides to do that. Something like the Keldeo is a pretty big threat for my team as well. A couple different variants of Keldeo can be scary, whether it's Choice Scarf, Specs, or even like a Calm Mind variant. All 3 are pretty annoying for my team to deal with, but nonetheless, I do have ways to deal with it. I think the Umbreon is mandatory this week. I don't think there's any reason for him not to bring it. It's his best Megaladios check for sure this game. As you can see, my Megaladios set, I could if he didn't have the Umbreon and he had like a, I don't know, just a different dark type or something not as good, then I could very much switch his Megaladios to Calm Mind over Toxic, and that variant right there would absolutely run through his entire team, barring the Umbreon. So Toxic is there for that, which I'll go ahead and get into my idea with that and whatnot. He has the Raikou, which definitely could make an appearance this game. It's one of the mons I would say out of the 9 I probably least expect, to be honest, though, but it does have a couple things it can do, I suppose. Whether it's just maybe Calm Mind once again, or some kind of text that maybe stall out some like PP on certain moves, I don't know. It's not exactly I guess the Raikou would be the one mon I would say should come in this game. Then he's got the Mega Venusaur, which is a pretty big problem for a majority of my team. They can wall a couple things out for sure. Things like my Clefable really do not appreciate the Mega Venusaur. Things like my Swampert really don't appreciate Mega Venusaur. And just other mons on my team really don't do too much to it. It's a hard one for my team to break outside of a couple different ones. And one mon I didn't really, there's a couple other mons I didn't really talk about, was Jirachi and Terrakion. Jirachi is also a pretty big problem for my team, not barring anything, but like, it's a pretty tough mon for a couple mons on my team to break through, so that'll definitely be a mon that I have to be careful to play against for sure. And then Terrakion is a very hard hitter against my team. I have to be careful that it can't get up like an SD on a potential switch in on my side, because you just don't switch in Terrakion too well. Almost have to offensively check that thing when you're facing it. Otherwise, it's going to pretty much nab a kill every single time. So, yeah. With that being said, he's definitely got the scary team right there set aside, and I will go ahead and get into my squad. As you can see right here, we are starting off with my Megaladios. I talked about it has an amazing matchup outside of Umbreon. That still doesn't mean it has like a it doesn't mean it has a horrible matchup. It means it has still a really solid matchup, like literally outside of Umbreon. So the idea here is to pack the Psychic, Shadow Ball, and coverage, which is everything on this team neutrally or super effectively outside of the Umbreon. And then the Toxic is there to catch the Umbreon switching in, which I guess Jirachi could be a switch in for him if he's like a split F Jirachi, but I'd more than likely expect the Umbreon to always be the switch in. Because even if I'm a timid minus attack nature like this or whatever, with no attack investment, a foul play from an Umbreon still is like 75% to me, so yeah, that's a lot of damage, and I can't do much to him at all. Anything in my coverage list on my moves and stuff for Mega Latios really can't do much to Umbreon. And like Dragon Dance set is way out of the picture, because if I get one Dragon Dance out, Foul Play Okos me, so that's not something I want to rock out with at all. So this is definitely a pretty solid set here, and I do have the Recover over the Roost. I mean, there's no particular reason. I guess it allows me to not get Earthquaked by a Lando, I guess, or Terrakion or something. But yeah, that's kind of nice. And then just max special attack, the rest thrown into HP with the speed creep creeping the Terrakion and Keldeo at max speed. Which I think he could be, if he brings both those, I think they definitely could be max speed to try to speed tail with my Infernape for sure, whether they're Scarfed or not. So I think this is definitely a pretty valuable creep for sure. And I will explain, I do understand that Umbreon does get the access to Heal Bell, and he could definitely just get rid of my Toxic immediately. Granted, that does give me a nice momentum right there, but there is another way I plan on stopping the Heal Bells and whatnot, and I will get into that. Getting into my next mon, we have my Clefable right here, Twinkie, making another appearance for, I believe this thing's come to like this third game now, so pretty sick there. We are rocking the leftovers with Moonblast, Moonlight, Underwave, and Heal Bell here, which is pretty solid set overall. Well, to be honest, it's not exactly amazing against this team, but it does what it's here for a specific reason, and it is an unaware ability, as you can see. So no Magic Guard this week. So yeah, we are forced to run Moonlight, unfortunately, with the, I believe it makes me run Moonlight over Soft Bullet if I'm running Heal Bell, so that's a bit unfortunate, for sure, as I do lose out on some PP right there, and it does kind of suck that he has something like a Raikou, which could potentially pressure stall my PP out, so that is a bit annoying, but nonetheless, this is an unaware set, so it can beat a Calm Mind Raikou or a Calm Mind Keldeo pretty easily that way, and I have the Thunder Wave option to hit Keldeo anyways, which is pretty solid. But Thunder Wave also allows me not to get completely walled by the Mega Venusaur, which is another really big problem for my team, just to break through, as well as Thunder Wave lets me hit the Jirachi for at least something, which would be really solid. Which those are two usually pretty free switches to Clefable, and Thunder Wave is just a way to help me at least cripple them for a little bit. And if things like the Jirachi and Mega Venusaur are paralyzed still, then that helps the rest of my team pretty much outspeed, so that's always really nice. And the Heal Bell's there. I do kind of see the Heal Bell coming into effect because his Mega Venusaur can really click Sludge Bomb against my team. I'm not bringing any Steel type, so he can literally just click Sludge Bomb for free against everything. And I will go ahead and break it to you, my Roserade does not beat the Mega Venusaur 1v1 at all, so Mega Venusaur Sludge Bomb is definitely a problem for my team, and I do expect him to probably get a couple poisons here and there with it, so Heal Bell could come in clutch there. Also, if I'm going out Toxic the Umbreon with my Mega Latios at a certain point, then I'm going to get the Synchronize back on me, so if I'm able to Heal Bell that off, that would be great. And yeah, we're pretty much just a mixed defensive nature otherwise. I believe I wanted this thing to mainly be Spadef to take on the Keldeo, Raikou, and also the Rabombi. If he decides to bring a Quiver Dance Rabombi, we can potentially try to Moonlight Scout on his Z move, and then we can beat him there from 1v1 pretty easily with our Unaware, so that's really solid. And also, this is a nice specially defensive mon to take on the Frostlass, which actually has a pretty decent matchup against my team, not gonna lie, so that's something I do expect to come. And also, this gives me a nice mon to just switch into Umbreon if I ever need to do that after Umbreon comes out on something like my Mega Latios or something, so yeah, pretty much pretty solid there. Hopefully I can catch a couple of his mons with the Thunder Wave, that'd be really solid. Cripple some things, get some Heal Bells off, and then just check what I need to check with the Clefable. That's what it's here for. I also believe the defense investment allows me to take I think it's 2 Stone Edges from a Jolly Scarf Terrakion with our leftovers investment, so that's pretty solid there. If he's ever locked into Stone Edge or whatnot, then we can take that, so that's really good. And he also has the potential to miss it. I understand he could crit it too, but it's just there to give me a little bit of defense investment. I didn't really need all of it in special defense this game, so it kind of just went mixed. And yeah, getting into our next mod right here, we have my Infernape right here, George, making it another game. Bringing the Fire MZ right here with Fire Blast, Taunt, Vacuum Wave, and Nasty Plot this game. So yeah, this Infernape set's pretty weird, but it does what it needs to do against this team. He's got a lot of fat stuff for sure that I want this Infernape to help beat, whether it's with its coverage move, its Z move, and then Taunt to just stop preventing from healing, which is just really good overall. But yeah, the Fire MZ is really probably my best option. I thought about Life Orb back and forth, but overall I didn't really want to get chipped down a lot with a couple of his priority options on his team. I guess it's mainly just the Terrakion with Quick Attack, but I have seen him run Quick Attack Terrakion in the past, so that's definitely something I'm not going to underestimate at all. And I really just don't want to get chipped down at all, because I can still take any one hit from a Rabombi if it's not a Z move, so I don't want to get chipped down from Life Orb there. I just thought Fire Emblem would come in better, as I'm expecting to try to use the Fire MZ on something like the Umbreon or something like the Mega Venusaur or Landorus Therian throughout the game, so that's kind of my idea there. The taunt is there, so let's say you can see his switch-ins to Infernape are just not good at all, especially special like this. Umbreon can take some of these attacks, I do see, but he's not going to see that, obviously, considering Infernape most of the time would just destroy Umbreon. I expect him to be a Spadef variant of Umbreon, so I mean, he should be able to take out my attacks pretty nicely, outside of like boosted Fire Blast and whatnot. And then Foul Play won't do too much to me, because I will boost him with special attack and whatnot, and then it's not very effective either, so that's nice. As his best switches to this are actually the Mega Venusaur and Keldeo, so and Keldeo getting chipped down is really important too, considering I do have spikes on this team you'll see next. And I just have a lot of pivots into the Keldeo as well, so if I force that to come in and out on spikes and rocks and whatnot throughout the game, then that's going to be really important. And it taking Fire Blast damage would be also really nice too, so I'm okay with getting damage off on that if that's going to be a switch-in. So yeah, the plan is with the Mega Venusaur, I do expect that to be his main switch into this, so kind of a Spadef variant of Mega Venusaur, so if I can ever put myself in a position where I predict that to come in and click Z Fire Blast, I should be able to get off about 60% on him. You know, depending on spread, of course, but what the spread I expect, and I'm expecting that amount of damage, and then I can taunt the following turn to prevent him from healing, and then either Nasty Plot up and then attack again, or even just pivot out into something that can take on Mega Venusaur. And like I said, with hazards up, that can really be a problem for some of his bad stuff that I want to pivot into things like Infernape and Mega Latios, which will really just help my team overall. And I didn't really mention this, but his removal options are Landorus Therian and Rabombi. He has made it a habit to kind of run Landorus Therian as his defogger a lot this season. So that makes me a little bit less scared of it, and the fact that it might not be offensive this game, which could be really nice, honestly, but I'm still going to obviously prep for the offensive variant as best I can. And then the Rabombi, more than likely, I will see being the Z variant, which my Unaware Cable can hopefully take on. So, yeah, that's kind of the idea there. Moving on to my next model, we have my Roserade right here. This Roserade is carrying the Black Sludge with Spikes, Energy Ball, Sludge Bomb, and Hidden Power Ice, with a pretty weird EV spread. I'll go ahead and get into that in a little bit, but the Spikes hero for overall pressure on his team, it really inflicts damage on a lot of things on his team. I believe everything outside of the Landorus Therian gets affected by these spikes, so that's really solid for me. Chipping things out like Mega Venusaur and Umbreon are super important for my team, as well as things like Keldeo, so I would love to do that. Overall, really solid. The coverage does not allow me to hit Jirachi. That's the one mod that can come in and wall this thing. Like, more than likely could be a switch into this anyways. But I can pivot into the Jirachi appropriately, I think, with this team. So I overall I didn't feel like I needed the coverage to hit that thing with the Roserade. As Hidden Power Ice, I felt like it was a little bit more important than Hidden Power Fire here. As like I said, I think Landorus is more likely his defogger than Jirachi will be. So if Landorus ever wants to come try to defog on my Roserade, I can at least punish that and hit it with the Hidden Power Ice, which is really solid. I do believe I have enough speed to outspeed a non-speed invested Landorus Therian, so if he's like a defensive one anyways, I can Hidden Power Ice before he defogs anyways, so that's really solid. The speed I think is it's a base 226, whatever that is, I can't remember at the moment. I know we don't outspeed Jirachi, there's really no point to, like a non-speed Jirachi, there's really no point to because I can't do anything to it anyways. But yeah, my other moves, Energy Ball allows me to hit the Terrakion and Keldeo for big damage. I believe after like 2 spikes it died of that actually, which is pretty solid. And then the Sludge Bomb allows me to hit things like Rabombi, won't let it set up for free. And then just other mons on the team that want to come in, we can potentially knack some poisons and whatnot, so it's pretty solid. I think, yeah, the defense investment is pretty important on this Roserade, as it allows us to take a 2 rounds of rocks and a what is it? No, it's 2 rounds of rocks, or it might be 3 rounds of rocks and an Earthquake from Landorus, and live that essentially, or something like that. It was something from the Landorus that allows me to take hits from that. It allows me to take a hit from a Terrakion. I think we actually take a banded Terrakion hit, which is pretty insane. We take a banded Stone Edge, or it might be Scarf. If it's not banded, I might be completely wrong on this, but yeah, it's something from the Terrakion, which is really important too, because if he ever wants to hit me with an attack, I can hit him back with an Energy Ball and potentially knock him out, and that's really solid. The speed investment's the same speed investment we have on my... oh no, I was just talking about this. I can't remember what the speed investment's for. I think it's a non-speed Lando or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure it's for something like that though. Yeah, the special attack investment allows me to 100% of the time knock out Landers, I think. Just all we needed was ADVs, so that's pretty solid there, with no boosting item or whatnot. And then we just threw the rest into special defense with a calm nature, so it's kind of gives me another pivot into the Keldeo if I need to, on like a water attack or a fighting attack, which fighting stab against my team is horrible. So I mean, most of the time you'd be clicking stuff like Scald, Hydro Pump, maybe even Icy Wind if he predicts. So yeah. That's the Roserade. Once again, sorry, I'm a little clueless on the EV spread at the moment, but it's kind of a diverse one, so I can't really remember the Roserade too well. But yeah, next mon we have here is my Swampert right here. Flats. This is definitely some heat that we were bringing. We have the Stealth Rocks, Ice Beam, Earthquake, and Miracle, packing the Rindo Berry. And we are just max defense on the Swampert. I wanted overall a pretty nice rock switch into track. I'm just spamming the Stone Edge. I wanted to be able to take Landers' hits as best as possible whenever it has to take a hit. And as well as Jirachi, giving my best pivot into Jirachi if he's not carrying something like Energy Ball, which I really don't expect him to carry something like Energy Ball against me with the rest of my team, that is. So yeah, Stealth Rocks is just there to help me get Stealth Rocks up as they help inflict big damage on things like Frostless and Rabambi, which are nice, as well as just chip things down like Mega Venusaur and Umbreon over time, which are really, really nice. Now you're going to see the Miracoat plus the Rindo Berry combination. I'm sure you already know what that's for. Now obviously that is really far-fetched because something like a Mega Venusaur clicking Leech Seed or even Sludge Bomb is more than likely going to be his play rather than clicking Giga Drain or something in front of a Swampert. Predicting a switch or just thinking he can just wall out a Swampert pretty easily anyway, so he doesn't really have to worry about clicking the grass move. So I do understand that is very far-fetched, but I just really did not like the fact of Swampert just giving the free switch into Mega Venusaur every time, so that was pretty unfortunate. But also, let's say on the first turn I'm in with Swampert against Mega Venusaur and I want to play a little bit of mind games. Let's say I click Earthquake on his Mega Venusaur and show that I want to stay in and pretty much sack my Swampert off. And try to catch him on a turn where he goes for the grass move and then hit the Miracoat and potentially knock him out. The Rindo Berry allows me to take a non-invested Giga Drain. I believe it does like 45% to us, so obviously a lot of damage and it weakens my Lando and Terrakion switch in. But also gets rid of the Mega Venusaur for things like my Clefable to really just be able to click Moonblast a lot easier with things like Mega Venusaur and Jirachi all the way, of course. So it's really solid. Ice Beam coverage is there for the Landers Therian. Earthquake just allows me to hit things like Terrakion very nicely. Keldeo for pretty big damage, as well as Raikou and stuff, so it's really solid there. And Miracle could come clutch against things like a Calm Mind Raikou or something like that, even a Keldeo if I think he's just going to straight up attack me, a Frostless, things like that. I had to make sure Frostless didn't get Freeze Dry before this game because that's something I definitely did not want to face, and it luckily does not, so that's good there. But yeah, the Rindo Berry plus Miracle is kind of just a little bit of hidden tech right there. Even if he's clicking Sludge Bomb, like, we're still going to be able to get some nice damage off on him, and more than likely force him to Synthesis up and get in something like a Mega Latios or an Infernape against his Mega Venusaur, which would be pretty solid for me. So yeah, that's the Swampert set, pretty nice here. And then the last mon we have here is my Electrode. So Electrode honestly doesn't have one of the best matchups I've seen it had this game, but it has a really, really cool niche to it this game, and like you heard me at the beginning mentioning, I have my Toxic on my Mega Latios, and I want to get that on the Umbreon as soon as possible. And I do kind of expect his Umbreon to carry Heal Bell. If he does or doesn't or whatever, then, you know, it is what it is. But our Electrode here has Soundproof, so our Electrode is our Umbreon switch, and essentially, if we get the Toxic on the Umbreon with Mega Latios, which I'm very much certain that will happen one time throughout this game, because Umbreon should be a switch into Mega Latios, like I said, then we have the Soundproof Electrode in the back to block the Heal Bell, which is pretty insane. You know, this Pokemon is immune to sound-based moves, including Heal Bell. Me and a friend actually tested this before a game, and it actually does block the Heal Bell, so it's a pretty cool tech. Hopefully I can catch him off guard and just keep his Umbreon weakened and whatnot. So even if he elects to Wish on the following turn thinking my Electrode can't do much to him, I have the Taunt on deck, which is really solid too, because his initial pivots in this could be things like Mega Venusaur as well, which would taunt that, prevent it from Leech Seeding or Synthesizing up, so that's really solid there. Also would prevent something like a Landorus that might want to come in to click Stealth Rocks or Defog, so I think Taunt was really useful there, as Thunderbolt Volt Switch is just good stab to have, as his only ground type is the Landorus Therian, which we have the Hidden Power Ice for. Now, I went back and forth on Magnet and Sugar Berry for a while, but even with the Sugar Berry, we are taking so much from a Landorus Therian that even if we take a little bit chip, we're still going to die anyways, so I figured Magnet was a little bit better to get just a little bit more chip on things like Mega Venusaur and Umbreon over time with the Volt Switch and whatnot. Could be quite important, so I figured Magnet was my better bring here, and I didn't want something like Life Orb chipping me down, because I think Electrode's pretty cool here. It also just gives me something to outspeed his entire team. You actually can see I'm not running enough speed for a Bombi. Rabambi was a mod I kind of overlooked going into this game, and I didn't put enough speed in for it. I just thought he would just think I had more speed than him anyways, but I definitely should have ran more speed than the Rabambi looking back at it now, because this HP investment doesn't really allow me to do much with it, so definitely a little bit of a misprep on my part there. And also I wanted to mention on the Infernape set, I didn't mention this, I am modest with enough speed, outspeed, and max speed landers. I don't have enough speed for a Keldeo or a Terrakion. But if I'm staying in against one of those mons anyways, I'm clicking Vacuum Wave. So I figured there was no reason to really outspeed those. It lets me go modest, and that's ultimately a little bit nicer for things like the Mega Venusaur and just beating it down faster. So that was the idea on the Infernape anyways. And yeah, that's basically the team here with my 6 mons. Let me know what you guys think of the build, and I will go ahead and hop into the battle, and I will be right back. Alright, what is going on, guys? We're back with the battle up against Psychedelic Scizor, and yeah, as you guys can see, he elected to bring the Landers, Therian, Jirachi, Mega Venusaur, Umbreon, Keldeo, and the Rabambi. Not electing to bring something like the Frostlass, which I was pretty scared about, to be completely honest. Whether it was Spikes, whether it was like a Specs variant, which really could hamper my team with Stealth Rocks and whatnot throughout his team. No Raikou, which I'm not really too surprised about. It had like a decent matchup, but I figured he had better mods for me. And then he elected not to bring the Terrakion, which is also pretty nice considering. I didn't bring necessarily hard checks to it, or hard counters, which I didn't have hard counters anyways. I didn't bring hard checks to it, so I'm pretty happy not to see that there, as I guess it just didn't match up too well against the majority of my team, so I was happy to not see that. But he does bring the Rabambi, so I didn't really talk about this too much, but if he has these sticky webs, that can be quite annoying. It kind of limits my Infernape from putting in so much work. It kind of puts my Mega Latios in more of a role of trying to be a win con at that point. But he does have the Umbreon, as you can see, so that kind of puts a damper on Mega Latios for quite a while, so that is something I'm going to have to keep in mind. But yeah, we will go ahead and hop into it. I was looking at some matchups. I was debating on leading with one of my hazard setters right off the bat, being the Roserade or the Swampert. Roserade honestly matched up pretty fine against everything in my opinion, except for the Jirachi. And then the Swampert matched up against pretty much everything nicely, except for the Mega Venusaur. So I decided I actually was just going to lead with my Roserade. I do understand that Jirachi could be his Stealth Rocker and whatnot. He could decide to lead with it, but I am just going to go ahead and lead with my Roserade, try to get a Spike immediately and pressure his fat stuff. So that is what I'm going to do. He decides to lead with Mega Venusaur, so very happy I decided to lead with my Roserade instead of Swampert, and I'm just going to like to get a Spike as he throws off the very free Sludge Bomb, doing about 36%, I believe that was. Yeah, 36%. So pretty solid amount of damage to me, so I gotta watch out for this thing, as I do believe that he has no investment after seeing that, or very little at least. So that is good to note. But either way, I do not have recovery on this Roserade, and I do not have a move that can beat this Mega Venusaur down 1v1 very easily, so I am going to pivot out right here into my Mega Latios, as he does make a switch into his Jirachi. I don't think he predicted that, but I think he just, you know, they could take anything from the Roserade more than likely, so good play on his part. Reveals the leftovers, which is important right off the bat. It kind of opens up my mind that he could more likely just be a Stealth Rock variant, maybe Spadef. So I'm going to go hard into my Swampert, thinking I'm pretty free here, as he is going to throw up his rocks. And I'm going to do the same on the following turn to get up my rocks, as he goes right into the Rabambi, which I thought was a pretty interesting play. I guess he doesn't... I thought something like Mega Venusaur would just come right back in, to be completely honest. Maybe try to throw off a Synthesis or something after taking a Spike, just to scout out to see what I would do. But he goes into Rabambi, which is pretty interesting here, so... and for some reason my mind was stuck that he would be webs. Like, as soon as this thing came, I didn't really think this would be Quiver Dance. I thought it'd be straight up webs. So yeah, before he got up Sticky Webs, I wanted to potentially go into something like my Infernape right here, which ultimately, looking back at it, wasn't a very solid play. Because even if I go Infernape, he still could have something like the Z Moonblast in the back and just bop me with that. So I am going to go into Infernape right here, making a hard switch into it, as he decides to go for the Quiver Dance. So yeah, right there it kind of hit me. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And I'm just going to pivot out into my Unaworkable Fable, and I'm Spadef, so I can very much take that Moonblast. And after the leftovers, I am out of range of a Z Moonblast, or he has to be... I think he has to be... If he's modest, it gives him a chance to kill me, but if he's timid, I don't think he has any chance at all. So that's really solid. With the Z Moonblast, that is. So that's really solid there. So I'm just going to Moonlight here and play very, very safe. I do understand that Jirachi or Mega Venusaur could easily come in, but with hazards up, that is going to force them to click recovery moves over time, and I should get my momentum right back. So I am going to go right for the Moonlight right here, and I believe pivot out into my Mega Latios this turn, as he's actually going to reveal the Roar on the Mega Venusaur, which is pretty cool tech. Mega Venusaur does provide quite a lot of switches on my team, or it makes me switch a lot. So Roar is really cool with hazards, so I can really appreciate that set there. Good on him to bring that. And right here, he brings me into Swampert. So after clicking Roar right there, I figured he may click it again. He definitely could. But there's a likely chance he could click Sludge Bomb or Grass Move right here. Hopefully he doesn't click Leech Seed at this point, but so far we've seen Sludge Bomb, Roar, I'm assuming Synthesis, and then I would say a Hitting Power of choice, a Grass Move, or yeah, a Hidden Power of choice, a Grass Move, or a Leech Seed, which I'm pretty confident he won't have Leech Seed at this point. I just had a strong feeling in the game he wouldn't. So I'm going to click Mirror Coat right here as he goes for Sludge Bomb. Does nag a Poison, which I fully expected could happen. I click the Mirror Coat, it does 35% after that, which is pretty solid damage. Putting him in a position where he's pretty much forced to click Recover right here, or Synthesis, I should better say. And I'm going to make the hard switch into my Latios right here. Now, we are in a situation now at this point where I do expect him to fully go into Umbreon after taking the hazards, which is very solid. I can throw off my Toxic right here, fully expecting him to switch out, and I do land that, and he synchronizes it back, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And like I said, if this Umbreon is packing any source of like Heal Bell or whatnot, I think he'd go for it right here rather than Healing Move. So I am going to go hard into my Electrode right here to try to block the Heal Bell, as that is my play. And he is actually going to like to go for the Baton Pass. So that is something I've seen him run this season throughout a couple games, or maybe even one game or something. But pretty cool attack on him there. He builds up a lot of momentum and really helps him out on that turn. But he does leave his Umbreon Toxic and at a position where it'll be pretty low after another round of hazards. So, although he does bring in the Landorus, so this very well could be Defog Landorus. I do expect that could be a bring by him. But it also could be Choice Scarfed Landorus, which is something I was looking at his team. I didn't see a potential Scarfer yet. Keldeo could be Scarfed in the back, but I thought Landorus also had the capability to be Scarfed, because if you look at my team, my team is pretty weak to Scarf Lando. I'm not gonna lie, especially with Roxo. My team is pretty weak to Scarf Lando. So I am gonna stay in on this turn, and this may be one of the weirdest plays this game, and it may look like really bad, but I promise I had a reasoning behind it. I am gonna click Volt Switch on this turn in front of the Landorus, which, I really, setting up just doesn't make sense in my opinion. Him setting up doesn't make sense, and considering, Hidden Power Ice is very likely on this Electrode. He could be Defog and just try to get rid of these hazards immediately. And if he is Scarfed, I do expect him to click U-Turn over Earthquake. Because if he expects that I think he could be Scarfed, then my only switch into Earthquake at this point would be, I guess, Swampert. Well, I could sack off something, or I could go into Mega Latios, and if he clicks U-Turn on my Mega Latios, which is at 69% and Toxic at the moment, and which would come in on Rocks, it would put me extremely low, if not dead, and I cannot afford to lose my Mega Latios. So, me expecting him to click U-Turn right here, being a Scarf Landorus, I am going to click Volt Switch, and as you're going to see on this following turn, he is actually not Scarf, so I click Volt Switch on the Lando right there, and he's going to get off a free defog, essentially, so that definitely sucks. That definitely sucks. He's going to be able to get rid of all the hazards off the field, which is good for me at the time being, but it also sucks at the same time, just because things like Mega Venusaur and Umbreon could potentially heal up easier now, so that's definitely unfortunate. We do see we have faster here, so I am actually just going to take this opportunity to throw up a Hidden Power Ice. If he wants to go into something like Umbreon or Mega Venusaur to potentially get a heal off, then I can't taunt him the following turn, so I'm just going to click Hidden Power Ice and leave him on 7%, so that does a lot of damage. He actually goes for the U-Turn, so leaves my Electrode alive, which is great, and goes into the Keldeo. Pretty much, making me think that he would definitely be Scarfed. After not seeing Landorus Scarf, there was a big possibility that this would be Scarf, so I'm going to make the switch into my Clefable and eat up that Scald pretty well with our leftovers and whatnot. So I believe this opportunity, I do click Thunder Wave this time, because even if he stayed in and clicked Scald again, I can it's not a 3-hit KO, so essentially I would have got the Keldeo paralyzed anyways, so that would have been really solid. And I definitely more than less expected his switch to be either Jirachi or Mega Venusaur, so the Thunder Wave was pretty free right there in my opinion. And that's great, we do land that on the Jirachi right here. We do know this is leftover Stealth Rock, so I'm not too worried about like a Scarf flinching variant, but nonetheless, paralyzing this or the Mega Venusaur was just really good for me. Right here, no hazards are up. I'm actually going to bring hard Infernape in, because if you look at his team, like I mentioned, Infernape kind of just nabs one, outside of him pivoting into something like Keldeo or something like that. But I'm going to go hard Infernape right here on this following turn, and that Thunder Wave is going to come in mighty clutch right here as we get the full pair on the Jirachi right here, and it is going to force him to stack his Lando essentially. I go for the Nasty Plot right here, thinking he potentially could go into Mega Venusaur, and I just wanted to make sure I could knock that thing out essentially. I do reveal Nasty Plot, which might have been a misplay, so if he went hard Mega Venusaur, I guess clicking something like Fire Blast might have been better. but I potentially could have missed, and my play would have been like Fire Blast into Taunt, which could have still beat the Mega Venusaur, but I figured Nasty Plotting into like Z Fire Blast nabbed me a kill no matter what, even if he decided to sack Landers, which I thought was definitely a fine play by him. So he's going to bring in his Keldeo right here again, essentially, you know, making me think it's going to be Scarfed, which it is Scarfed at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and say this is Scarf Keldeo, and instead of staying in and clicking a +2 Vacuum Wave, which would do like about 50%, I am definitely going to save my Infernape because I can put in so much work here, and switch out into my, I believe, oh, I go to Latios here on the next Scald because I didn't want to go Clefable. I think my Clefable, yeah, my Clefable was at 80%, so it was at a range where Hydro Pump could actually 2-hit KO it if you got two pretty nice rolls. So that's not something I wanted to risk right there, and if you went for the Hydro Pump, that does not 2-hit KO my Mega Latios, even with the Poison, so that was really, I thought it was just a fair pivot right there. I didn't think it'd go for Icy Wind, considering my initial switch into this thing was the Clefable. So I thought Mega Latios was a fair play right there, and this does allow me to get up a nice and comfortable recover. As he's going to go right back into the Jirachi right here, and I'm going to make the same play right back into my Infernape, and once again, the Clefable's paralysis is coming through. Right there, I do kind of apologize for that one, because whereas Thunder Wave, you know, you wanted to do that, I don't really like the move Thunder Wave, but I thought for my Clefable, I needed it just so it wouldn't get walled by Jirachi and the Mega Venusaur. But yeah. We do get two very lucky full pairs in a row on the Jirachi, and it's going to let my Infernape in for free without rocks getting up or without him clicking some kind of attacking move that would weaken me. So right here, I believe, instead of clicking... Yeah, I don't click Nasty Plot this time. I believe I clicked the Z Fire Blast, because if you want to go hard Keldeo on my Nasty Plot, then I would get the crucial damage on that thing where I would put it closer in the range of a +2 Vacuum Wave late game, or even just help him with spikes over time to kill that thing. So I thought Z Fire Blast was pretty free right here. If you wanted something like Mega Venusaur, I can either Fire Blast or Taunt the following turn, determining how much damage that would do first. And then if he goes, yeah, if he stays in with Jirachi, it's just dead. So he's going to go into the Mega Venusaur right here as we click the Z Fire Blast. It does, as you're going to see right here, it does a nice 63%. So another Fire Blast will knock out this Mega Venusaur. And all I need to do is essentially hit at this point, and he's going to make a play right here, which I didn't ask him after the game, which I'm very confused on. He goes into Rabombi right here. Had I clicked Taunt right there, not risking the Fire Blast or something, but like that would have made no sense, because then I would have had to risk the Fire Blast anyways afterwards against the Mega Venusaur. So I'm very confused why he went into the Rabombi there, to be completely honest with you. I guess he just wanted his Mega Venusaur around. Maybe he could feel like he could send this off against something like a Swampert. And I guess you can look at it from this perspective. Mega Venusaur does look pretty solid against the majority of my team outside of Mega Latios, so I can definitely see him saving it right there, but I do not agree with sacking off Rabombi there, as Rabombi still posed a pretty big threat against me. If he was able to force up rocks again at a certain point with his Jirachi, then my Clefable isn't necessarily going to be able to take a Z move from the Rabombi very comfortably at all, so I thought Rabombi was definitely something that could win this game still, so I'm very nice and relieved that that thing is gone now, and at this point he's going to bring in the Scarf Keldeo once again, and I go into my Electrode right here. I do sack Electrode, which, looking back at it, probably wasn't my best play, considering you still taunt things like the Umbreon and Mega Venusaur. Maybe should have tried to make a pivot again into something like... once again, I didn't want to go Clefable because Hydro Pump had a chance to 2-hit KO. I could have went to Roserade, but there was also a chance I could have clicked Icy Wind on that or the Mega Latios coming in, which... I think the Roserade was out of range of 2 Icy Winds, so I could have like got up a Spike or something and forced him out, which could have been a play, and that probably could have kept my Electrode alive, so maybe a bit of a misplay right there from me. But either way, I'm going to get my Mega Latios in now, and I think I clicked Shadow Ball right here, predicting a Jirachi, even though Umbreon makes a lot of sense too. So we get off very little damage right there, and we are going to make the switch into our... yeah, right here, make the switch into our Infernape, and if he wanted to go for any kind of recovery move right here, which was fine. And right here, I make another bit of a misplay as I click Nasty Plot on his Baton Pass, so he's going to be able to get Keldeo for free and force me out. As I go into Roserade right here, and he clicks Icy Wind, make a nice prediction, but that is not going to be able to 2-hit KO me, especially with the Black Sludge recovery. And instead of clicking a pretty obvious grass move, I am going to elect to get up a Spike right here. So I'm going to get up a Spike on his Jirachi switch in, as he's more than likely looking to get up Rock still at this point. And instead of going Infernape again, potentially risking him going for a Psychic move, trying to catch my Infernape, which I've shown to be a switch in 2 times in a row to this thing, I'm going to make the play into my Swampert right here, which is a little bit more expandable with things like Lander is gone, so I'm going to try to get my rocks right here. I think I actually just click Earthquake, yeah, because with a Spike up, it's going to 2-shot this Umbreon quite easily, and he'd have to have Moonlight at this point to beat this down 1v1, which still would put me in a position to weaken that thing incredibly with a Toxic plus just Earthquake spam. So I like that pretty good, and as you can see, he throws up the Wish, and we are just going to knock him out with the Earthquake right there. and he is going to bring in the Mega Venusaur, and the only way he knocks me out right here is actually with a Grass move, and he's going to reveal the Sludge Bomb, so I guess he doesn't have the Grass move, and we're going to be able to knock him out with the Earthquake right there. So no Wish Pass, which is really, really nice. Swampert just came in clutch right there, got 2 kills, dies to the Poison, but is ultimately going to do what it needs to do right there and not allow the Mega Venusaur to catch the Wish, which could have been a pretty big problem, honestly. So if he had the Grass move right there, that would have been a little bit scarier, as I would have had to make some more predictions about Mega Latios to allow it not to just get beaten down by Toxic. So right here we had a situation where he could have went Jirachi or Keldeo. I could have went Mega Latios or any of my other 3 Mons, and I decided to go Mega Latios because even if he went Jirachi, I was in a position where I probably could have just clicked Shadow Ball anyways against the Jirachi, and had a good chance to 2-hit KO if he didn't have a ton of Spadef. So I thought that was pretty decent. And he was still paralyzed, so he still had a chance to potentially get full paralyzed, which I definitely don't deserve another one at this point. So yeah, but if he goes Keldeo right here, I'm in a position where I believe he's in with Keldeo right here. I don't remember if I clicked Shadow Ball or Psychic right here. I think I might have clicked Recovery actually. What do I click? Yeah, I go for the Recover first, try to get back up to full, and I think I clicked Shadow Ball right here, as I just want to gauge the damage on this thing. Even after the Toxic, I am out of range of 2 Icy Winds from the, or not 2 Icy Winds, but 2 Hydro Pumps from the Keldeo. So I thought staying in was fine, but he was going to reveal the Ice Punch, which gives off some pretty big damage after the Toxic too, which puts me in a very interesting spot, as I think my best play at this point was to just click Shadow Ball. May have misplayed a little bit here, but Shadow Ball would have left this thing extremely low to the point where my Clefable, or not my Clefable, but my Infernape gets to come in, and even if he kills me with Jirachi, like I said, I leave him extremely low, and then Jirachi can kill me with the combination of Ice Punch plus Toxic. I bring in Infernape. I think my best play at that point is to click the, I think my best play was to click the Fire Blast. So I'm obviously risking the miss, but if he brings in Keldeo on the Fire Blast plus a Spike, then he's in a position where he's going to be very, very low and very close to in range of a Vacuum Wave. So at that point, I would have to pretty much sack off my Roserade and then bring in Clefable to a point where I would have to, force it out with a Moonblast or finish off the game at that point. So I figured my best play at this point was to stay with Mega Latios and just click Shadow Ball, as he's going to make the switch into his Keldeo right here. And we get big damage off on the Keldeo if we stayed in too, which is something I didn't mention. So we get him down to 38%, which is most certainly in range of a +2 Vacuum Wave. And I'm going to go into Roserade right here, sacking me off. He goes for the Hydro Pump, trying to catch my Clefable. Like I said, that could have the chance to KO my Clefable. With Rocks Up especially, it definitely has a good chance to. So I'm just going to sack my Roserade right here as he goes for the next Hydro Pump. And unfortunately, he misses. So that definitely gets rid of any potential Theory modding we could have done at the end of the game right there, as I just click Energy Ball. And essentially, that's going to wrap up the game, as I'm just going to sack up my Roserade right here. I really probably should have went Mega Latios, so it couldn't have been like a setup variant or anything, but he's going to knock me with Ice Punch, and I just go into Mega Latios to finish off the game with another Shadow Ball. But yeah, really solid game there to Psychedelic. Those 2 paralyzes on Jirachi earlier in the game definitely inflicted how he was able to not get up his rocks and whatnot. That definitely could have helped earlier on, I suppose. I don't think those pairs were like game-changing or anything, but the Hydro Pump miss definitely... I don't want to say it was game-changing either, but I want to say it definitely would have made me predict a lot more towards the end of the game, and could have been a lot harder to pull out a win. It probably would have been, if I pull out a win, it would have been 2-0 or something, and it would have been a lot harder to get the win. So yeah, either way, we are going to pick up a 3-0 win here and move to 3-1 +6 for this season. So far, doing pretty solid, and yeah. I'll make sure to leave Scissor's YouTube description down below. Go ahead and check him out for sure. I think he's going to be uploading this game in battle when he gets a chance to. So see his perspective of everything and whatnot. So yeah, make sure to do that. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if new. Really would appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.